welcome to Vlogmas day 20 or 19. I will insert the correct day in the title. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you're new here, my name is Shannon. I also go by Shani Sells, and I'm a full-time online reseller on Poshmark, Ebay, Mercari, Etsy, kind of Depop. I'm all over the place. Everything's in the description below, and you can check it out. But today, for Vlogmas, I'm going to do a what sold video for last week, which was the week of, let me get the date here. Obviously, I'm not ready. My numbers, my net profit numbers, which I think are the most important numbers of all, because that's really what we're taking home, really what we're depositing in our bank account, and also what sold. So if you guys haven't been here before, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I also really appreciate everyone that comes back and watches my videos. It means so much to me. So with all that said, last week was a pretty good week. December in general has been very good for me. I'm on track so far to reach my profit goal, my general profit goal that I want all year round, not just in quarter four. Someday, hopefully I'll get there, is a net profit of at least $2,000 a month. And you know, anything above that is obviously great. I did reach that goal in October. You can go back and watch that what sold video. I talk about that there. I didn't reach that goal last month in November. November was not great for me. It was just okay. I definitely can't complain, but this month has been much better. So last week I did a what sold video too, and you can go check that out. But this week I made a net profit, so this is after fees and after my cost of goods on all of the platforms, and I made $540.51. So last week we had 11 sales on Poshmark. We had also 11 on eBay, which I thought was funny. We had 2 on Mercari, and we had 4 sales on Etsy. So that's really awesome. Without further ado, I'm going to start with Poshmark. So on the 10th, I sold these Bass vintage braided brown booties, and I made $16 on those. I wanted to keep these, but I tried them on, and I don't know, I wasn't feeling them for myself, but I knew someone else would want them. So I thought they were super cute. I love any leather that's like braided like that. So someone loved them, and she actually left me a nice review, so that was awesome. December 11th, I had 3 Poshmark sales. I sold this BCBG dress, which I don't normally pick up BCBG, but I picked this up around Halloween time because I thought it would make a nice costume. And I thought, like, you know, someone could wear this to like a Renaissance fair or Renaissance Halloween costume, or even like a saloon girl. It had that kind of vibe. So you'll see the picture here. The picture's not great. Hopefully for Christmas I'm getting a ring light. I mean, that dress in particular was just really hard to photograph because of the colors. It was a darker dress, so it just was really tough for me. But I made $24 on that sale, and I got a 5-star review. On the 11th as well, I actually sold these to a friend I used to work with. She's bought from me twice now, and I so appreciate her sales. So, and the fact that she comes back is just amazing. But I sold these Newport News leopard Mary Jane shoes, and she left me an awesome review. I made $23.80 on those shoes. They were super cute. They were my size. I 100% would have kept them and worn them in the summer with like shorts. They were so cute. On the 11th, I sold this Zara holiday mini dress, and it was glittery and sparkly, but it had like a very faint glitter effect to it, so it wasn't like over the top. I made $12 on that sale, and I was happy to see that dress go because it was listed like, picked this up probably beginning of the summer, so it was listed for a while. On the 13th, I sold this Sublime men's t-shirt, and it had this cool skull design on it, and I think it said Long Beach, California. I made $13.40, and the person that purchased that left me a 5-star review and a really nice comment. I noticed that a lot of people that leave 5-star reviews will just put the 5 stars and not leave a comment, which is fine. I totally appreciate the review either way, but I always love when they leave an additional comment, and this person said that they were really happy with their purchase, they loved the design, and they were thankful for a smooth transaction. So I'm wondering if maybe they were a first-time buyer on Poshmark, but either way, I was happy to see that. On the 13th, I sold this onesie, which I featured in a recent thrift haul, saying I also wanted to keep it. I say that all the time. But I tried it on. It was an adult unisex medium, but it was based on your height, and I'm too short, so it didn't fit me. But I made $12 on that onesie, and it was really awesome. It had like a constellation design, and I was able to find the stock photo, and the price was originally like $58, I want to say. If I'm wrong on that, I'll put it here. But it was a pricey onesie, like if you were to buy it off the website. So the person got a good deal, and I made a sale, and I was happy. On the 13th, I sold these Prana army green cargo pants. They were cropped, and Prana's a great brand. I also picked up a pair of Prana jeans in my last thrift haul. If you didn't watch that, go check it out. But I made $27 on that sale. On the 13th, I sold these Nike track pants, which I made $7.05 on those. On the 14th, I sold this Rockin' Republic leather jacket. It was new with tags, and it had a tie-dye design on it. I was surprised at the sale because it had been sitting so long. And when I first picked it up, I wasn't really picking up Rockin' Republic. Like, I hear it's very, like, hit or miss. And then, I don't know, I saw the jacket. It was pretty cheap. It was new with tags, and it retailed for, like, $180, something like that. So I figured, why not try it? It sat all summer, but I ended up making $30.40 on that sale, so I was happy with that. On the 14th, I sold these Ralph Lauren braided leather heels. Again, it has that braided effect, which I love, and I made $10.20 on those heels. On the 14th, I sold these Bass, second Bass item of the week that sold. That's interesting. They were these really cute black leather wedge boots. I featured them in a recent thrift haul. I would have kept them if they were my size. They were so cute, but they were size 8 and I'm a size 6.5. But I made $24 on those boots, and they gave me a great review. So those were all my Poshmark sales. Moving on to eBay. Like I said, we had 11 sales for the week, and I actually had to get a new notebook because I finally filled this thing up. Little side note here, I used to bullet journal, and I was like so into it. For a little while. If I can show you one of these. This is my first page I did for January of 2019. And just like habit trackers, and I did all of this. But then when I started my business and I went full-time this past June, I completely took over my bullet journal and made it into a business bookkeeping journal. So it literally became only, I'll just show you everything, numbers from then until now. So anyway, I bought another business notebook, and I'm going to buy a separate bullet journal just for personal use for the new year. And hopefully I can actually like stick to that and do it. We'll see. But anyway, that was a little tangent. Moving on to eBay. So on the 9th, it was a good week for eBay too. I had just as many sales as Posh. I ran sales all week. I consistently run an eBay sale using the Markdown Manager, which I believe you have to have a store to do that. I have an eBay store, and I consistently run sales so that I make sure that people are seeing the prices drop, and that seems to be really effective for me. On the 9th, I sold this Bon Jovi pin. I made $11.64 on that pin. I have an interesting story about this pin. Over the summer, I went to a yard sale, and I found this amazing jacket. I will post the photo here. It's still listed, and I thought it was so cool, and I still think it's so cool. It's still sitting there. No one has bought it, and I have listed it high. I have it listed high because it's so unique. It's like hand-painted on the back. It's 100% leather. It's very, very heavy, so it's going to be hard to ship. Probably wasn't a smart pickup, maybe, because it's still sitting. But along with that, it came with all of these vintage pins. Many of them are from the 90s, from biker rallies, from just like bike events all over the country, really. And so anyway, when I first got the jacket, some people were telling me I should list the pins separately and take them off of the jacket. But then when I went to do that, I took the pins off, the jacket had a ton of holes in it. The pins must have been there for many years because the holes were like very obvious. So anyway, I ended up taking the Bon Jovi pin off and trying to sell it just to see how it would do, and it took a while to sell, but it did sell. The other pins are still on the jacket. Since the jacket's not selling, I'm considering just taking the pins off, selling them separately now, and maybe donating the jacket, or I don't really know, because once the pins are off, then the jacket has a ton of holes, so I'm not really sure what to do there. But anyway, that's my story, and this was a cool pin. It was Bon Jovi, it was from the 90s, you know, hopefully someone that got it is obviously a fan, so I hope they enjoy it. But moving on the 10th, I sold these Democracy jeans. They are the Ab Technology. They're like a slimming jean. So anyway, I ended up making $31.35 on those jeans. So that was an awesome pickup. And I picked those up at Salvation Army on half off day. So they were probably like $3, maybe $2 or $3. On December 10th, I sold this vintage Christmas sweater. I made $10.98 on that sweater. On the 11th, I sold this Columbia vintage vest, and I made $22.83. So this is interesting too. I sold a Columbia vintage fleece version. It looks just like this vest, except it is a fleece and it's long sleeve, like what I'm wearing. And it was basically the same exact pattern. And then a couple months later, I found this vest. So I picked it up thinking, okay, if the fleece sold, this will probably sell too. And it did. So definitely pay attention to those things in your business, like what's working, and stick to that, you know? So that was a really cool sale. On the 11th, I sold this Torrid top. I made $10.72 on that top. I love picking up Torrid. I know a lot of resellers say it. Yeah, it's true. I love Torrid. On the 11th, I sold a bundle actually on eBay of 7 LL Bean t-shirts. They were black, and they were given to me by my mom's boyfriend, who gives me clothes to sell every now and then. And so far, a lot of things that he's been giving me recently have been selling really fast. So that's amazing. These were new t-shirts. They weren't really worn, and I listed them as a bundle, so I think that helped. And I made $27.12 on those shirts and 100% profit. On the 12th, I sold this Animals Are Friends hoodie. I featured this in a recent thrift haul. It was really cool. It was from a farm sanctuary in Watkins Glen, New York. And you'll see the picture here with the pig. I just thought it was so cool. And I listed in the title on eBay, and I think this was important, I listed vegan, vegetarian, animal lover gift, so that if anyone was searching for that on eBay, this would come up, because this really was an awesome gift. Like, I would buy this for a friend that I knew was vegan, and it was basically an excellent, like, brand new condition. So that was a great sale. On the 13th, I sold this hat, and I'm probably going to butcher the name of it, but I believe it's pronounced Conte of Florence, and it is a brand that is made in Italy, and it was a part wool hat, and it said US Ski Team on it. The reason I picked this up is because, one, it's part wool, and those things are good good sellers, you know, especially on eBay, to put that in the keywords. I feel like people search for that. Another reason is, a few months ago, I sold a US Ski Team pair of leather gloves. So I think that people like things that say that on it. And it was kind of an experiment to see if it would sell as well as the gloves did, and it did. And honestly, it sold pretty quickly. I made $48.96 on that hat, so that was a really good pickup. On the 13th, I sold this vet tech textbook. I used to want to be a vet tech, and I took a few classes. And I just sold another book. Was that last week? Either last week or the week before. I was mentioning that in a recent What Sold video. So I am selling them, which is great, now that the spring semester is coming up. I made $37.68 on that book. Sure, I'm not going to recuperate what I originally paid for the books, but I'm happy to see them go and that I don't have to store them in my house anymore. On the 14th, I sold this set of 3 PS4 games. These were Frankie's games, so he gave them to me to sell. Mortal Kombat, Anthem, and BioWare. You'll see the picture here. But I made $45.46 on those games. I'm imagining that someone was purchasing these as a Christmas gift. On the 15th, I sold another thing of Frankie's, and this was from probably the late 90s. And I think he told me it's pronounced Anichi. And you'll see it here, so I don't need to spell it for you, but it's Anichi vintage Y2K jacket. I think that was my title. Or I wrote like early 2000s. It was like a varsity style zip up. I made $25.38 on that jacket. That was all my eBay sales for the week. Really great week. Hoping this week is as good. I have made a few sales already, so we'll see. But I'm imagining that like the Christmas sales are going to slow down soon since Christmas is fast approaching, but we'll see. So on Mercari, I had 2 sales. I didn't write down the date for this one. I believe it was December 11th or 10th. I sold this Pier 1 Fox mug, and I think I featured this in a thrift haul. If I didn't, then either way, it sold literally the next day. I listed it that night, and it sold the next morning. So it sold super fast. I made $11.05 on that mug. On the 12th, I sold this vintage 1987 Christmas. It said "'Twas the night before Christmas." It was a glass plate, and I made $18.25 on that plate. I'm just picturing someone leaving these out with cookies for Santa on Christmas Eve, and it just makes my heart so happy. But from what I know, I got paid for it, so it arrived safely, and that's all that matters. I got really nervous shipping out fragile things, and I always overwrap them in bubble wrap because I'm so nervous. And then when I see the notification that I can get paid, I'm like, I just feel like so relieved. Anyway, so those are my Mercari sales, and then moving on to Etsy. I think this is my first week actually featuring Etsy in a what sold, I believe. Oh no, last week I had one Etsy sale. Yeah, I think it was only about 2 weeks ago that I started like listing again. Vintage Norman Rockwell Christmas tie. It had a really awesome graphic, you'll see it here, of like Santa and a little boy, and I made $20.89 on that tie. And I mean, I wonder if someone bought this for like a Christmas party, you know, it's gonna be so awesome. On the 11th, I sold this vintage faux fur coat. It was vintage and it was from Sears. And I had to do a lot of research on this because I didn't know if it was real fur. Sometimes it's really hard to tell because the inside of the coat said like dry clean only. It didn't say anything about it being real fur, but the care instructions were really specific. So it just had me questioning if it was real fur. But anyway, I found a really similar few of them online, and they said it was faux fur, so I went with that. But I made $38.93 on that coat. On the 11th, I sold this really cool pair of vintage chunky Skechers. They were lace up. I pick these up anytime I see them, and I did feature these in my last thrift haul. I got them on a day when the thrift store was having a half off sale, so I did not pay a lot for these at all, and I made $25.76. However, this was kind of a story. So the person paid $60 for these shoes, and when I went to check, I saw that they had also paid $15 for shipping. So $75 total for the sale. When I looked, I realized that it was shipping to, I believe, the UK. This was my first time with global shipping on Etsy. I didn't know how it worked. I did work for Etsy in the past. If you haven't watched my first video, you should go watch that. But I worked in payments, so I really didn't have to do shipping at all, and I wasn't familiar with how it worked, basically. So I had very vague knowledge on it anyway. So I really didn't know, and I really went to the post office thinking I had to fill out a customs form and do the whole thing. I didn't have to do that. I just had to print out the global shipping label from Etsy and like sign it. That was it. However, because of the weight of the shoes, they were like 3 pounds or something. It ended up being, I think, an additional $35 for shipping. So instead of like reaching out to the buyer and explaining the whole thing, I just ate the cost of the shipping because my thought on this was that I paid so little for these shoes that it didn't matter. Like, I was still making a really good profit. So in my eyes, I didn't want to reach out to the buyer, upset them, and like possibly lose the sale to ask for additional shipping money. And it was kind of my mistake because I didn't know enough about it, and I probably should have researched before. So long story short, I could have made a lot more money on these, but sometimes you have to weigh your options with businesses. Like, is it worth it to lose a sale, or is it worth it to pay that extra cost to kind of save some headache? So I decided to do that. But anyway, my last sale on Etsy for the week was on the 12th, and I sold these vintage 70s curtains. They were really cool. They had a food print all over them. They were like kitchen curtains. I got these for free from Frankie's uncle, so they were amazing. I made $44.97 on that sale. So interesting about that sale, I sold those on the 12th. The person reached out to me, I think, was it yesterday? It was either yesterday or the day before, asking me what size the curtains were. I thought that was interesting because I had already shipped them like the week before. And I feel like that's something you should ask before before you pay and they ship and everything. But anyway, I haven't heard anything since. So I'm assuming that my answer was fine and that they were good to go, because each separate curtain was a certain size, and they wanted to know if it was one size, like for the whole thing, or if my size that I'd put on there was just for one curtain. So I let them know it was for the whole thing or for each separate one. Anyway, I'm hoping that works out. So those are all my sales for the week, and for a total of $540.51 net profit, and that is after fees and cost of goods. And I did spend a lot on inventory last week. I spent over $100 on inventory, which I try not to do. So yeah, I thought that was a really good week. If I had spent less on inventory, I could have made even more. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful a little bit for you, at least if I could help one person or, give you some ideas, then that makes me happy. Make sure to subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you